Hey everybody! 2 weeks ago, I went to attend the This Is My Brave show in New York City, and I wanted to just kind of give you a rundown of how I wound up there, what it looked like while I was there, and give you an idea of what it was like in case you were interested in attending or maybe even hosting one or speaking at one yourself. I had heard about This Is My Brave through various mental health creators on the internet, and I kind of like knew what it was through hearing about it and seeing a couple of videos, because they do have a YouTube channel if you want to check it out for yourself what it actually looks like. But I would describe it as kind of like a variety show where people just express themselves however they want to in regards to their mental illness. Every show is going to be a little bit different because it's put on by different people each time, but there is, I think, a general format here of having an introduction and then having each speaker go up and do their thing, whether that be speaking or playing music, reading poetry, singing. All kinds of different things happen at each show, and each show is unique and different, and I think that that's actually what makes it cool, is that when you go, you're seeing a live experience, something that you'll maybe never see again. So at this particular performance, I had found out about it on Facebook because somebody who was speaking at it, Michelle Hammer of Schizophrenic NYC, I've known her through Instagram initially, and I just kind of like know her work and I love her work, and she had invited me on Facebook to the event that was planned, the Facebook event that was planned for the This Is My Brave show in New York City. And I thought, oh, that's cool. I wonder if I can make it. I looked it up. I got the ticket. The ticket wasn't really expensive, I don't believe. And I said, you know what? I'm not usually the type who likes to take the trip to New York City. It's a bit of a hassle for me. It's not like super hassle, but it's a trip. I have to plan for it, and I said, you know what, I'm going. I'm going because I want to meet Michelle, and I want to see what this is all about for myself in person. Now, I don't know the format of all of the shows and how they're put on, but this particular show was a 2-hour show. I believe it was 7 to 9 p.m., and so I made sure that I was going to get there a little early to 7 so that I'd be able to get in and not have to freak out about anything. For anybody out there with like social anxiety, I'm going to give you like my little ideas of what happened, just because I know that would have made me feel better. Not that I had social anxiety, I was okay with this, but you know, I've been there before where these kinds of things can get a little nerve-wracking to attend performances, so I just want to kind of like walk you through the whole thing. So I did get to the venue a little bit early. They did give instructions on how to get there, I believe, in an email the day of or the day before, I don't recall, but I kind of knew how to get there anyway because I looked on Google Maps and I planned my whole trip to get there. So I got there a little bit early, and I wasn't sure of which entrance to go to because it was a corner location. It was being done at a college or a university, something, and I just walked up to the corner and I saw that there was a big line. So I don't know what it's like near you. In New York City, it's not that uncommon to see big lines for things, but I just kind of figured this has to be the line for the event because this is the correct time and this is the location, so I'm just gonna get in line. So I got in line, and I'm usually the type that's kind of like reserved and to myself. I just assumed that I was in the right place, but then somebody came up behind me and asked me, is this the line for This Is My Brave? And I said, I don't know, I think so, it looks like it. Like I see somebody with a shirt on for it, so probably. And then they decided they wanted to know, so they went and asked somebody up towards the front, and we all kind of figured out, because more people came, that like this is the right place. So there is like a little bit of chit chat waiting in the line. If you're like me, you just kind of like do your pleasantries and kind of just stand in line and not really continue engaging in the chit chat, which that's what I did, and that was okay for me. I was comfortable with that. I don't think it came off as rude to anybody. You know, it's just the way that things go at these events. I do believe that the line took a little, like we didn't go in right away. We didn't start at 7 o'clock exactly. I think there was it wasn't a lot of time, maybe 10 minutes at the most before the line started moving in. But once the line started going, we went in pretty quickly. I don't even think they were checking bags or anything. They were just checking tickets, and then they handed us a program on the way in, which was very nice. The program was well done, and it has all the speakers in it if you want to learn about them or take it home with you and read when you get home. Again, I'm not sure if this is the way that things go at every This Is My Brave performance, but it was nice. And then I was a little bit nervous about like seating and stuff because I do get social anxiety, but when I walked in, like, it wasn't a full theater full of people. There was a balcony area. I don't know if anybody was even up in the balcony or not, but the floor area had plenty of seating, and so I just found a nice comfortable spot for myself towards the back right dead center so I could see everything. It was perfect for me. I was very happy. I never felt like any obligation to have to talk to anybody or do anything, which I personally like. It's weird because I'm an extroverted person, like I like being around people, but I just get uncomfortable in these kinds of situations. So I was happy to just plop myself right down there in the back and be able to see everything in front of me. It was a very relaxed atmosphere. There was like a lot of people standing up and talking to other people that they knew. A lot of people were just doing like me, chilling, sitting down. I never felt uncomfortable once, and I will say that the temperature was very good. Again, I can't speak for every venue, but I wasn't overly cold, I wasn't overly hot, I was just comfortable. So after a little while of, letting everybody get in and get a seat, they started the show, and there was an introductory period where the producers of the show came out, and it was like 5 minutes maybe each, where they spoke about the show and what it meant to them and how they put it on. And there was a video about what This Is My Brave even is, for anybody who wasn't sure of what it was and what the whole thing is, which I don't even know if I can correctly articulate. So This Is My Brave was started as a Kickstarter campaign, and it was started because Jennifer Marshall had a blog about her bipolar disorder, which she had started anonymously because she was afraid of any kind of like backlash or judgment about it. And then she had a lot of people reaching out to her saying how her story helped kind of like validate their story and help them feel like they weren't alone. And she decided to eventually go out there with her name, Jennifer Marshall, and be honest and open about what she had experienced. So she co-founded This Is My Brave as a way to actually like get in front of people in person and have people share their stories, because she saw the transformational power of storytelling and how it does help us feel like we're not alone, and it's okay to feel the things that we feel. It's okay to talk about mental illness, and it's okay to heal from it together. Now, this is kind of my summary. If you want the straight facts from This Is My Brave, go to the website. They are a nonprofit. You will hear all about them on the website, and you can see everything there. The general idea of This Is My Brave is that storytelling saves lives. Okay, so from there, the producers had been introducing, and one of the producers had like a very comedic way of talking about things. She was keeping things lighthearted and just kind of helping us to settle in and relax. But there was somebody in the audience who, at this particular show, wasn't very comfortable with that. Her daughter had some concerns and was very upset because there was a lot of like joking about mental illness, and that didn't feel right to her, so she stood up and spoke out. She had felt like they weren't taking mental illness very seriously because it was a very lighthearted comedic tone in the very beginning, and they explained to her like, you will see, we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of things, but just remember everybody copes a little bit differently with things, and some people use humor to get through the bad stuff. Really wasn't like a big interruption or a big deal. It didn't freak me out at all. So then Jennifer Marshall actually came out and spoke to us for a minute about her mission and what the whole show was about, which was very nice. It's nice to see the person who created it actually show up and be there in front of you. I appreciated that. And then I believe from there, that's when all of the people who were going to be speaking and performing, they came out on stage, and they all kind of sat in a semicircle in chairs around the stage, and then the first performer went up and did their thing. Now, I will say some of the stuff that they got into was really heavy. Oh, there was an introduction, like as we were walking in, I think, where somebody sang a song, just like an introductory song, which was kind of nice. All right, but that out of the way, some of the stuff that was spoken about was very deep stuff. It was very hard to hear. So I would say if you're in a place with mental illness where this is all very fresh to you, you may just want to be cautious about attending, or at least have somebody with you if you attend that can kind of console you, and if you need to leave the room or something, be prepared for that. There were, I think, a couple of times when even the speakers had a hard time getting through what they were speaking about, and it was, I had tears in my eyes a few times because it was just, mental illness is a serious thing, and we do struggle with it, and it also was very validating to hear other people be so open and honest about it. And each time that somebody struggled with something, the audience was clapping along and like cheering them on to continue. So it's a very supportive audience. The cast was all very supportive of each other. Every time somebody would go to sit back down, you would see them like hugging or just giving them like a thumbs up, like they did a great job. So it just felt felt like the whole atmosphere of the entire production felt very supportive. One thing that I very much appreciate is that they ended on time, because I did have to commute home and I had to plan like train trips and like schedule everything. So I was very appreciative that they ended on time, but I was a little bit confused. So they had said that they were going to allow, if you wanted to go and talk to the speakers, you could do that afterwards. And the show, I felt like it ended kind of abruptly, and they just said like, well, come up and talk with the speakers if you want to, but there wasn't a lot of guidance about what that meant. So I had been in the back and I walked to the front and stood by the stage, and I was a little confused because it seemed like all the speakers were kind of like talking to each other about how it was, and I wasn't sure, like, am I supposed to get up on stage? That's kind of weird. So as I said, I was there to see Michelle because I knew her from online and I wanted to meet her in person. I like to see like people in flesh and blood whenever possible. This is my first time, actually, I believe, meeting somebody from this whole mental health world, and that was kind of cool. So I was waiting for her, and I was confused because I didn't see where she went, and it turned out that I was on the opposite side of the stage where she went down on the other side. Finally, I spotted her, and I realized she went down to the other side because she had a booth set up, because she has Schizophrenic NYC, which is a clothing line. She sells pill boxes, artwork, all kinds of cool stuff. And I went over there, and actually I did buy something because I really love this shirt. So this shirt, Define Normal, is what it says. A bipolar, a schizophrenic, and a podcast. And this is from the podcast, The Bipolar, Schizophrenic, and a Podcast, which is a podcast that Michelle is doing with Gabe Howard of Psych Central. I love the podcast. I listen to it while I'm doing work. And so I wanted to support because I love the podcast and I love the message of define normal. Because what is normal? I didn't have a lot of time to chat, but I did say hello to Michelle and have like a short little back and forth. And it was just nice to see her and support her and see. I liked that This Is My Brave allows people that have stuff to sell, like books and information, or just want to give out their card or whatever. You can set up a booth and you can do that if you're a speaker. And overall, after the show, it was just kind of like a do whatever you want. If you wanted to hang out in the theater, at least at this particular show, you could hang out in the theater and talk with people. If you knew people were going to be attending and talk with the performers, it was nice. And if any of this sounds interesting to you, you can sign up to become a speaker yourself. Or if you're really ambitious, you can sign up to create your own This Is My Brave show in a city or town near you. They have all that information on their website, and I know that they will help you get set up if you need help. They're there to create the platform where people can share their stories so that they can help save lives and help us all feel a little less alone. Overall, I really enjoyed the experience. I didn't really understand what I was going to see when I got there, but I was very happy to see everything that I saw. There was a good variety of people. It was spaced out very well, so there would be somebody speaking about something, telling a story, then there'd be like a singer or somebody would play an instrument. I like that. I like that it never really felt like it was boring or dragging on or anything. They do put all of the shows up on YouTube. This particular show I don't believe is up yet, but hopefully when they do put it up, I'll remember to come back here to this video that you're watching right now and add it in somewhere in the description somewhere. But if anybody is thinking about going, I would say go. Why not? I really can't imagine that anybody would go and not have a good time. I would just say, if you are sensitive to these topics, bring somebody with you or bring a group of people with you if that makes you feel more comfortable, and just be okay with, leaving the theater if it's a little bit too much. Maybe take a seat near a door. Again, everything felt very relaxed and supportive, and I didn't feel any kind of judgment while I was there. So what do you think? Will you be attending a This Is My Brave show? Will you maybe be speaking or even holding a show? I'd like to hear about it. Let me know down below in the comments, or if you've been to a show, let me know what your experience was like.